demo baselines. Here we are in my list. We're in my website redesign project list. So here we are in Gantt, obviously. Let's go ahead and add a baseline. There's a couple different ways you can add a baseline. You obviously have this menu button right here, and it opens up this sidebar on the right-hand side. Additionally, you can access it if you go to this customize settings, you'll find your baseline option here as well. So there are a couple different ways you can access it. Let's go back to this way. Press on baselines. We are going to add a baseline. Let's pretend it is the start of the project. We want to capture where these tasks are starting. So we can go ahead and press this add baseline button. And if you have noticed, we now have this little thin purple line underneath these tasks here. And remember, this is like the snapshot of where these tasks are at this moment that I created this baseline. So if we hover over it, we can see that this is baseline 1. And we can also see the duration of this baseline is the 20th to the 1st. Now I'm going to rename this because baseline 1 not too descriptive. So I'm going to say start a project and let's make this yellow. Now we don't have the luxury of fast forwarding time in life. So we are going to make pretend today. And we're going to pretend like it's a week, 2 weeks down the line. So we're going to extend some tasks. We're going to move them around. We are not doing so hot in this project. So we are extending some of these deadlines. So let's again pretend it's week 2 or maybe a month in. We're going to go ahead and create another baseline. So we can press on baseline and we're going to add another baseline. This is going to be called milestone. Let's call it main milestone. And let's make pink. And now we can see where were the tasks at the moment I created this second baseline. So how might you use this? Well, I, as a project manager or maybe a stakeholder or maybe just someone who's assigned to a task, can come in here and say, wow, this task was supposed to end December 1st, but we ended up extending it to the 22nd. Why was that the case? Or, okay, I see this one was supposed to start here and we moved it to here. Okay, let's see why. Oh, of course, that's unavailable. Let's figure out why that is the case. And so this is a really great resource for stakeholders, for project managers, for even anyone who's assigned to tasks to kind of uncover why things are being changed or maybe not completed on time. Let's hopefully be able to go back, give it a little refresh. The demo gods never give me a day off to make it work. Okay, where were we? Okay, so like I said, a really good way for a project manager or a stakeholder to come in here and say, what the heck happened? They're going to jump into the task. They're going to ask Ben here, why did we change the due date? And they can kind of problem solve from there. Now, let's also pretend that time has gone by. Maybe a couple weeks have gone by, and we are now at the end of the project. We're going to add another baseline. So we can go right back to the baseline menu. We can add another baseline, and we are going to call this end of project. And now what we will see is where were we at the start? Where were we at the main milestone? And where are we now at the end of the project? You'll notice at the bottom here, we have these little filters. You can just click on or off. If you don't want to see a particular baseline, you can always remove it. For example, I might just want to look at the start versus the end. And you'll be able to very clearly see, you know, we were supposed to end on December 1st. We ended on January 7th. During our retrospective and lessons learned overview with the team, we're going to talk about why that was the case. And maybe for the next project, we allocate a bit more resources to the requirements gathering and the research component of our project. Now, there's a couple other things I want to show you here. I want to show you these fields. Now, right now, these fields are just working on Gantt view. They should be working soon on the list view, but right now we do have access to them in Gantt. We can add them here. So I'm going to look up start. And you'll see that we now have these read-only fields, and you'll know that these are baseline fields because it has brackets that say the name of the baseline. So start of project was the name of a baseline, main milestone, end of project. So you can quickly add them to your Gantt view and see them here. I want to show you duration because I think that's a really powerful one to see. And the reason why you're not seeing the other one here is because I turned it off. So I can come back, look at duration. Maybe not. Anyway. Anyway, okay. Basically what we're showing here is that you can very clearly see at the start, it was 8 days. By the main milestone, it's at 23 days. And it's a really easy visual way to see some of the changes that have occurred in overall duration. Now, eventually, you'll be able to integrate these into dashboards so you can report on this. I did play around this morning a little bit with agents and having an agent report on some of this stuff. I got a good first try from an agent, which is looking really, really good. I think just a little bit of tweaking the prompt would probably be a little bit better, but it is possible to have an agent report on some of this information. It can look at the baseline, start date, the actual start date for start of project, main milestone, end of project, and can give you just a quick little overview of key issues. So more playing around to do with that with agents, but looking up there. And then the last thing I want to show you really quickly is what it looks like to export. So I am going to remove these custom fields so we can get a little bit of a longer view of Gantt. And I just want to show you what it looks like to export. So you can head to your customized settings, go export. And this is what it will look like. So you're going to be able to see these baselines. You won't see the name of the baseline, but you will see these colors.